She didn't push back at all.
Your mother?
474. Yeah, there's 474 names.
So what town did she get? It wasn't Fleming because Oh, Montgomery County.
I gave her Somerset County. Because I
You have plenty of time for that.
It was either do that. We were going to do that last night, but then you said finish home.
Yeah.
So I swapped. I took back whatever town I had given her. Okay. And
Did Montgomery?
gave her 730. It's 470.
That's I mean the ballots aren't in the mail today, so.
Mr. Kirsch.
Yeah, why don't we go live and I'll wait 30 seconds or so for us to start. Okay, we're going to start the meeting. Thank you for joining us tonight. In compliance with the Open Public Meetings Act of New Jersey, adequate notice of this meeting was provided on January 5th, 2021, by sending written notice and electronic notice to the Courier News and the Star Ledger, posting on the website and the bulletin board in the municipal building, and filing with the township clerk. A subsequent notice with live stream information was provided on September 15th, 2021. You can certainly watch this meeting on live stream by entering meetings.ringcentral.com/join. When prompted, meeting ID is 144-257-9779. You can also dial in by telephone to 646-357-3664. Same webinar ID number 144-257-9779. Roll call, please.
Councilman Kirsch?
Here.
Councilman Padilla?
Here.
Councilman Nogales?
Here.
Councilman Ring?
Here.
Council President Piscopo?
I am here. If you're able to stand, would you please do so and join us for the Pledge of Allegiance? Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Moving on to item number 4 on our agenda, we have minutes for approval. We have September 3rd, 2021, which was an emergency session, as well as September 9, 2021, regular session. And is the closed session passed around? Okay, great. Any comments, or is there a motion?
Just to clarify, we're approving the 3rd and the 1st of the 9th.
The 3rd and the 9th. You know what? Why don't we separate them, because I will be abstaining from the 9th. And why don't we do the 3rd?
I apologize, did the 9th closed get distributed?
Not yet.
Okay. So,
Just the 9th regular.
yes,
So is there a motion to approve September 3rd?
so moved.
Second.
Okay. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Hearing none, that passes. Is there a motion for September 9th?
I'll make the motion to approve September 9th meeting minutes.
Okay. Is there a second?
I'll second
Thank you. I'll be abstaining. Everybody else, you guys, are you in favor?
Aye.
it. Aye.
Is there any opposed? All right, hearing none, passes. So moving on to Township Council reports. Councilman Kirsch.
Thanks very much. I'll be brief because I know we have a guest here who's one of my neighbors. We'll celebrate his accomplishment very soon. But wanted to just point out a few areas I've been active over the last week or so. Restaurant Week in Bridgewater, I was able to patronize, my kids patronized Rita's, and then we also went to Soprano's Pizza, so those were both great experiences. And even past Restaurant Week, encourage everybody to patronize our local restaurants. I attended the Basilone Parade yesterday, supporting our neighbor in Raritan. Also yesterday, I attended the Center for Cultural and Creative Exchange Mid-Autumn Festival held in Bridgewater. I wanted to particularly call out the accomplishment of the organizer Lee Ching-jung, and that's my report tonight.
Thank you, sir. Councilman Ring.
Thank you. I began the somber day of 9/11 by attending a 20th anniversary remembrance ceremony at the North Branch Firehouse. The fire department did an excellent job of putting together a very touching and appropriate ceremony. Following the ceremony, I participated in the township ceremony here on the grounds of the municipal complex, and I extend my appreciation to the Office of Constituent Relations for putting together a very meaningful and appropriate ceremony, including engaging local scouts in the community to place 2,997 American flags on the ground of the municipal complex, one for each individual that made the ultimate sacrifice on 9/11. As touching as the service was, you can imagine my surprise and disappointment when I received a call the next day, during which a resident shared with me that someone felt it was appropriate to place a campaign sign of individuals they hoped to see elected in front of the American flags on the grounds of the township complex. Words cannot begin to express the disappointment when I received that call. The following day, I participated in Community Day at the mall in conjunction with the JCC. And then also, as Councilman Kirsch said, this past week was Restaurant Week. I was fortunate to be able to get out to several of the restaurants in town and support them. That's my report.
Thank you, sir. Councilman Nogales.
Thank you, sir. I also attended the 9/11 ceremony at the North Branch Volunteer Fire Department, an organization that I am proud to have served with for 37 years. Mayor Mensch and I both spoke of our experiences related to that sad occurrence some 20 years ago. Also attended the Bridgewater 9/11 remembrance ceremony, which followed shortly thereafter. Attended the Bridgewater Community Day activity at the mall. It had 3 sponsors: the Jewish Community Center, the mall, and our township. And during the course of the weeks, had numerous meetings with township officials as well as residents in dealing with flood damage. That is my report, sir. Thank you.
Thank you. Council Vice President Cardillo.
It was my privilege to attend the September 11th ceremonies at the North Branch Firehouse and also at our municipal building, and I thank those who put the programs together. I also did attend Bridgewater Community Day with Howard at the Bridgewater Mall.
Are you done?
Yes.
Great, thank you. I wasn't here for September 9th. I'd just like to say that I did attend the Hapstown Centennial event. I had the privilege of reading the proclamation that was signed by the mayor and the council, and it was certainly a wonderful event. This governing body, well, I know that a couple years ago, we actually renamed the Somerville Manor area the Hapstown town, and I was honored to make the motion to rename it. Vice President Cardillo seconded that motion. I know that Mayor Mensch was part of that in renaming Hopstown, as well as Councilman Nogales, and I think it's a very fitting for that area to be named that. I also welcomed back our winning 14-year-olds baseball team, and that was just a joy. At some point, are we going to have them here?
Yes, I believe that's correct.
Good. I think that would be very fitting. So. And then I was thinking, I missed the September 9th council meeting. It was my first missed meeting this year, and I don't remember last time I missed a council meeting, actually, but I was thinking, in general, this governing body has a phenomenal attendance record, so it often goes overlooked, but the majority of this council has not missed a single meeting, and no one's missed more than one meeting. And so, as your council president, I am certainly proud of the governing body for its attendance record. I think it should be noted. Often it's overlooked. So, you guys certainly do your part. Anyway, Mayor's report.
Mr. President, I'm sorry, I did overlook some things. That's the risk of going first in the batting order. If I could, with your permission, just also state that I was at the North Branch ceremony on September 11th, the Bridgewater ceremony. I spoke at the ceremony at my former hometown in Greenbrook, and they have a beautiful memorial for anyone who has not been up there at top of the World Park. And it was also at Community Day on the 12th. So I apologize for not bundling that together earlier.
Worth saying. Okay, Mayor's report.
Thank you, Council President. I have a few items to report on this evening. First, I want to thank the Council for their relentless support of the administration's request for assistance in response to Hurricane Ida. As you know, the staff has been working long hours, sometimes 7 days a week, in order to complete the repairs and the work that needs to get done for our residents. I know all of you have toured some of the damaged areas, and some of our residents have really been significantly impacted. We have our infrastructure, which has been damaged, which we, of course, are working on through various emergency repairs. Bossler Avenue is the biggest one. Thankfully, our staff noticed it because it was not an obvious, unlike Chimney Rock Road, which everyone's seen the pictures of, where you can see the cracks in the road. For Bossler, for those who don't know, it was really the side supporting wall that was damaged. So if you were driving down it, you may not notice the fact that there's nothing holding up the road. And luckily, we were able to identify it quickly, and it's now being repaired, but it involves some engineering work. So we're moving on that as quickly as possible, and we'll try to get that open. Meanwhile, hopefully throughout the town, you've seen a slew of road repairs that have begun, both on the emergency side and as well as on our normal road program. For the emergency work, just a reminder to the public and to the council, emergency work is more limited. It's done in response directly to the storm. There are, we're not able to necessarily go in all cases and just repave a road. We're repaving the portions that were damaged from the storm, and we will submit those expenses to FEMA and hopefully get our portion of those expenses returned to us. In addition, you'll see in some instances the road work has continued on the normal, on our 2021 road program. Since one of the emergency contractors is the contractor doing two of those groups, Mallard, for instance, was started. It's kind of paused temporarily while we do the emergency work. However, we'll pick up again. But that work is proceeding generally on schedule, and hopefully will be completed on time. One other item, just as a preliminary matter that we're looking into, a lot of residents, we had a lot of road repairs, but we also have a lot of drainage issues that we're looking at. Some of them are short-term fixes, DPW, or we have contractors, specialized contractors as well, to help us go and to deal with some of the individual storm drain or drainage cleanup issues. We've also discussed, and will be coming before the council, I think, in the future, to have retain an engineering who has an expertise in looking at stormwater systems overall, because just like we did with the roads, and we looked at a comprehensive overview of our road infrastructure, we need to do the same thing for our drainage infrastructure. It's something that needs to get done, and we're going to start the process of doing that in a comprehensive fashion. The biggest problem with a lot of the drainage projects, as you all know, is in many instances they're extremely expensive, and they only impact a small number of residents, but for those residents who are impacted, it's significant. So that is something that we are currently working on to see what that looks like, and we'll be presenting more information to the council as it becomes available. In the meantime, for any residents who need assistance, continue to contact the Office of Constituent Relations. We'll try to get assistance where we can, either internally or direct folks to FEMA when appropriate. We're also going to be looking at opportunities for affordable housing. There's funds that are available within the affordable housing as part of our settlement, our COA settlement plan, that allows us to assist with home rehabilitations, for not just for homes that are in the COA program, but for homes that are also meet certain eligibility, income eligibility limits. So that's available too. We will also continue to look through Blue Acres programs. Some residents have asked us about having their homes bought out, or residents have asked us that are in some of these flood areas about raising up their homes. So there's also funds that we'll be looking at, state funds, not Blue Acres funds, to be able to do some of that. So we continue to work around the clock on those items, and if anybody has any questions on that, certainly obviously let me know. If residents have any issues, send them our way, and we will try to get them the assistance they need with the recovery. I touched already on the 2021 road program, which continues. Phase 1 and 2 of the payment preservation program are also complete, as the council knows. In addition to complete road rebuilds, we've done the pavement preservation part of the program, which is to resurface. This was done over in some of the Milltown road areas. We also did it recently over in a road in Tomei Park, and we'll continue to do that as part of our annual plan. These are for roads that don't need to be rebuilt, but are starting to show some wear and tear. And when we resurface them, we extend the useful life of those roads by usually on average 5 to 7 years at a fraction of the cost of rebuilding. So we'll be doing that as well. Moving through, our health officials continue to inform us on actions regarding COVID-19. The county has now reduced the frequency of their calls with municipalities from weekly to every other week. Our health department continues to issue COVID reports that show a decrease in the number of reported cases. The township, as mentioned before, we hosted what I thought to be a very moving ceremony commemorating those who died on 9/11 and all those who volunteered and who assisted in a time of need. I thought that the program this year was really well done, and I want to thank Wells and Scott who planned that event and executed it. They really did a great job for our community, and that's something that I hope we can see continue every year moving forward. It was nice, and I thank the scouts and the volunteers and members of the public who came out to help assist us in placing the flags. It was nice to see the community engagement. Earlier that day, like everybody else here, attended the North Branch ceremony, which was also very nice with a flyover. It was also a very poignant event and incredibly well done. We had another successful community day, as everyone mentioned, the Bridgewater Mall, sponsored with the JCC. This is a new location. I thought it worked out great for all those who were there. It really gives us an opportunity to continue to expand that event with the JCC. My kids had a lot of fun. Hopefully we'll get even more and more vendors there in the future, and we can help to build that with our partners to make that really a premier event of the fall. For Restaurant Week, this is our first annual, and we're going to continue it. Thank you for OCR and everyone who participated in that event. We had about a dozen restaurants who participated. We're hoping that in the future they will continue to, more restaurants will continue to join in that, and we'll be able to make it an even bigger event, perhaps with like a showcase at the beginning or end of the week. There's a lot of events we can do. The more participation we get from both the vendors as well as from the public. The more public that participates in these events helps the businesses to understand that we are out there supporting our business community and gives them more incentive to participate in our events moving forward. A couple more items. I am attempting to make it my way through to celebrate our athletes, our student athletes. I've had an opportunity to meet with the varsity field hockey team, the varsity football team, and the varsity cheerleaders. I will continue to try to meet with those student groups. I think that our athletics and those who participate in them really show a lot of character of those students, and their hard work, and it should be celebrated and respected by the community. So we'll make our way through that. For those celebrating the Mid-Autumn Festival, which is tomorrow, enjoy your celebration. I participated in an event over the weekend and hope to get around tomorrow to an event as well. So want to wish everyone a happy Mid-Autumn Festival. And last but not least, on a more serious note, I want to comment briefly. I may have more comments for the next couple of days, but I was made aware recently that the school district voted to request the governor to provide them permission to go to a virtual option with the school. Still understanding the details of that, but I just want to say I think it's disappointing that we would be doing anything other than continuing to try to get our students in school full-time for the education they deserve. The idea that we could possibly create a shadow virtual institute to the tune of who knows how many millions of dollars on our taxpayers is an atrocity, and anybody who voted for that should be ashamed. With that, that concludes my report, Council President.
Mr. President, may I ask a quick question? Either I didn't hear it or maybe it was overlooked because there's just so much going on. I believe the curbside pickup continues. I personally observed the combination of our DPW and our contractor with their relentless efforts to clean up our various neighbors' conditions in our neighborhoods. From my observation, they were doing an outstanding job.
Thank you, and a good point, I mentioned it before. We expect that the cleanup will be completed by the end of the week. It may go into next week. We're continuing to keep track with our contractors. For any resident who hasn't got picked up yet, don't worry, we're still coming around. But I will encourage everybody to make sure that you sign up on the portal. That way you know you're not going to be missed. If you sign up, there's no chance a truck's going to drive by your house and miss you. If you're concerned, obviously call OCR and we'll make sure that everything's happy and you don't have to worry about being overlooked. So that continues, and if there's any updates of note, then we'll certainly let everybody know.
Storm-related debris only.
Storm-related debris only. We understand that folks like the curbside bulk pickup, but unfortunately, right now this is an emergency appropriation. We can't recover from FEMA if it's not storm-related. And quite frankly, for those people who really need the help, it delays us getting them the help if we're putting out non-storm debris. We hope to be able to do the normal bulk drop-offs this year, but unfortunately, the site incurred a lot of water, so we're working on bulky trash drop-off days. I guess we'll see, Tom, where we are with that. But we understand it's a need, but please, residents, let us get to those folks who really need the help with the program. That's all I have, Councilman.
Thank you, Mayor. We're moving on to, I guess, the part I'm most looking forward to. Item number 7, proclamation. I'll pass that back on to you, Mayor.
Thank you. It's a great day. I think Councilman Kirsch, this is one of your neighbors from your neck of the woods in Bridgewater. Councilman, would you like to say a few words?
I'll simply say that, I know the family, our dogs know each other. When particularly my wife, walks in their direction or they walk in our direction, we considered them friends before, and certainly, the events during the storm, this is a wonderful example of heroism and great judgment, and I think with that, Mayor, it makes sense for you to simply read the proclamation so everyone can hear the same commentary.
I will. I'm going to come down. I'm going to ask Nick to come up and join me. All right. You think you're out there to photo? All right. So you got to. So for those of you who don't know, I guess most of you probably here do know, but Nick Durla is standing to my left. So Nick, like many of us here, born and raised in Bridgewater, product of our school system, graduated in 2017. Thank you for making me feel old. I appreciate it. I was a 2000 graduate, and also a Rutgers graduate, so we share a lot in common. I was a Rutgers graduate. Well. Also, much sooner than you, earlier than you. But be that as it may, Nick is here with his family. We have Fred, his father, Patricia, his mother, Michael, his brother, is here. Karina is here, as well as his grandmother, Nancy, who's not here, but Nancy is his grandmother, and we appreciate grandmother's support as well. For those of you who don't know the story, and I'm going to let you say a few words, although you make me a little nervous. You're a little too comfortable up here, But for those of you who haven't seen the video or heard the story, it's really an incredible what this young man has done. Where, on a serious note, Bridgewater was one of the communities that suffered fatalities in our town. We had residents who passed away. One resident was trying to get back to Bridgewater. We had residents who passed away in Bridgewater. One person from Somerville, and it could have been worse if it wasn't for Nick's heroism, his being able to stay calm, and his desire to look out for his fellow folks that he didn't even know, just his fellow human beings. It could have been a worse day in Bridgewater. And the video is pretty extraordinary if you haven't seen it. Not only did Nick have the wherewithal to step up and help those in need, his manner, as you can tell, is certainly one that helps to keep people calm in a very upsetting and dangerous situation. So we're proud to have Nick here. And I will also say that if UPS has a great reputation, it's a great company, Nick is the kind of people that UPS is hiring. It says a lot about them and what they're looking for in employees. So we're glad to have Nick here in our community. We're glad to have UPS here in our community. And I'm sure there's a lot of families who were driving through Bridgewater that are very happy that you were driving through that day. So I'm going to read the proclamation. Whereas on the evening of September 1st, Nick Durler was finishing a shift delivering packages for UPS. Whereas, with only a few packages left to deliver, the remnants of Hurricane Ida began to cause flash flooding and made his route impassable. Whereas, with his truck breaking down, becoming surrounded by other disabled vehicles on Route 22, Nick remained calm in the face of adversity and focused on the moment, never allowing a potentially tragic situation to get the best of him. Whereas Nick displayed amazing presence of mind for transforming his quick thinking into heroic action, ensuring that all the endangered drivers he encountered were pulled inside to the shelter of his UPS truck. Whereas Nick, a 2017 graduate of Bridgewater Raritan High School, where he was voted as class clown, used his gift of humor to try and keep spirits high despite the dire circumstances. Whereas Nick showed the real leadership skills by making the decision to exit the UPS truck, head for safer ground once the truck began taking on too much stormwater. Whereas thanks to Nick's heroic efforts, all the individuals he encountered that night were delivered to safety. Whereas through his actions, Nick set the bar for what we should all aspire to when it comes to service to others. Now therefore be resolved, I, Matthew C. Bench, on behalf of the citizens and government of Bridgewater Township, do hereby express our most sincere thanks and gratitude to Nick Durla for stepping up to serve his fellow citizens during the worst storm Bridgewater has witnessed in years. Nick displayed the best of humanity during a tremendously stressful situation without ever letting it get the best of him. Thank you, Nick.
Thank you. Great work.
Don't lose anybody, please, all right? It's a nice occasion. Now, Nick, you guys are welcome to stay for the whole meeting, but you're not trapped, all right? So, you know.
Well, you know, I do have work tomorrow.
Thank you, everybody. Thank you. Thank you.
Okay, that was awesome. All right, moving on to item number 8, meetings open to the public. Is there a motion to open to the public?
Motion open, public.
Second.
Okay, all in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Hearing none. Members of the public wishing to address the council on any matter will be allowed 2 minutes to speak unless there are unusual circumstances. If you wish to address this governing body, please come forward and provide your name and address for the record.
Walsh, do you want to flip the podium?
Good evening.
Good evening, Kathy Howard-Franco, 766 Weemac Road. I really had no intention of standing up tonight. But first, I'd like to thank you for celebrating and recognizing Nick Durla, whose actions were heroic and self-sacrificing. Second, I'd like to also say that I truly appreciate everything the township, the DPW, the police, and first responders have done during the emergency and every day for our township. I did want to mention that I noticed the past few days, as my commute has been diverted due to the Bostler closure, that there appears to be an undermined culvert by a guardrail on the westbound side of Gilbride Road. It's located just west of house number 1272 on Gilbride Road. So if an engineer or somebody could go and look at that, I think that would be beneficial. It may end up diverting my commute even farther. I didn't recognize that. And finally, Mayor Mensch, I don't believe it's actually appropriate for you to be providing your judgment at a town council meeting on the Board of Education's actions. I believe that if the Board of Education members or attendees spoke on township administration issues at the Board of Education, that also would be inappropriate. I would ask that if you have comments to make to the Board of Education, you attend those meetings, and that all members of this council not use this forum and their time on the township council meetings to discount or discredit this or any other body within our township. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Is there anyone else? Going once, going twice.
Move to close public input.
Is there a second? Great, all in favor? Any opposed? Hearing none, public portion is closed. Mayor Mensch, anything you want to add?
No, I'm good. Thank you, Councilman.
Great, thank you. Okay, moving on to item number 9, we have public hearing and final action ordinance, 9A, an ordinance amending Chapter 206 entitled Vehicles and Traffic, Section 206-33 entitled Schedule 5, Trucks over 4 tons excluded, to add certain residential roadways, namely Pelicon Street, Bridgewater Avenue, Evergreen Street, Shaw Avenue, Thomas Street, and Wharton Avenue to the list of roadways that trucks over 4 tons are not permitted to utilize within the township of Bridgewater. Anything you want to add, Mr. Pappas?
One thing I just wanted to add real quick, I just wanted to commend the council. I wasn't here at the last meeting on this. I really want to commend the council for this ordinance, which I think really protects the quality of life of the residents in that neighborhood. And I think as amended, recognizes that there's business interests that have to be balanced with the quality of life of the residents. So I think it's a great ordinance, and thank you to the council for its action on it.
Any comments, questions by the council?
If I may, the comment that I have is, in voting for this ordinance this evening and discussing it, I look at it as the first step to address the problem with multiple roads in that area with a 4-ton limit. And as I've stated in the past, I truly hope that and look forward to working on a further resolution that would eventually route truck traffic to the Van Vechten Road area, directly from Findon Avenue.
If I may, Mr. President?
Sure.
Our master plan says we want to try to limit commercial traffic on residential streets. And this has been an issue for a long time, and I am very happy to see that we have confronted the issue and that we have found a working solution. I know Jason Damio's in the back. He's the owner of the adjacent property. He was here last time because inadvertently one of the piece of street that he would need was on the list, and it has since been changed. So hopefully, Jason, this satisfies your requirement. So this is the second reading and public meeting. Move for public meeting.
Thank you, sir.
Second.
Great. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none. Anyone in the public wishing to address the council on this particular ordinance may do so.
Seeing none, it's my pleasure to suggest a close public meeting and move for final action.
Thank you, sir. Is there a second?
Second.
Okay. Roll call, please.
Councilman Kirk?
Yes.
Councilman Trudilla?
Yes.
Councilman Nogales?
Yes.
Councilman Ring?
Yes.
President Bedoso?
I support this, limiting commercial traffic and residential streets, as Councilman Nogales said, is certainly not just part of our master plan, but also what we do to protect the residents' quality of life, which is, so I support this ordinance. Moving on to item number 11, resolutions. 11A, authorizing an additional $100,000 emergency appropriations for ongoing Hurricane Ida-related bulky debris trash pickup services. Anything you want to add?
Council President, the first two are really together.
All right.
Um,
I'll read them together. 11B, if there's no objection by the council. 11B, authorizing the Township of Bridgewater to increase the emergency contract with Interstate Waste Services, Inc. for Hurricane Ida storm bulk trash pickup within the Township of Bridgewater from $30,000 for an additional $100,000, and the total amount not to exceed $130,000. Mayor?
Sure, so this is, as it sounds like, this is to go back and to continue to fund our bulky trash pickup. When we came here for the council initially, we had an initial request to get that program started, but it's a big job. We knew we'd come back for more, and this is what we believe it will take to finish bulky trash pickup for storm-related debris. As Councilman Kirsch mentioned earlier, though, we continue to ask residents to please keep this to storm-related damaged debris because obviously this cost could balloon if every member of the public put out everything they've been saving up in their house for the past 5 years.
Not your remodeled second floor bathroom.
Correct. That's correct. Because quite frankly, it's a burden on the entire township. And we're doing this through an emergency, which means we should be getting some of this or most of this back through FEMA, but that won't happen if it appears that we're not doing storm-related waste. So that's it.
I'm gratified. Municipal governments are often accused of moving at a glacial pace, and I think this is one of those items that was taken under wraps immediately by the administration, to their credit, to assist our relatives. With that, our residents. With that in mind, I would move 11A and 11B.
I'll second.
Okay. Roll call, please.
Councilman Kirk?
Yes.
Councilman Cadillo?
Yes.
Councilman Nogales?
Yes.
Councilman Ring?
Yes.
President Joseph?
Yes, I support this. Just another example of Bridgewater Council and the administration doing what has to be done to get this cleaned up. Thank you, Mayor, for acting so quickly on these matters. 11C, award of contract to Pereira Electrical Contracting, Inc., of 205 Liberty Street, Metuchen, New Jersey, for the reinstallation of a new 200-amp electrical service for the lame Voorhees house located at 551 Milltown Road, Bridgewater, New Jersey, an amount of $21,100, funded through the Historical Preservation Fund. Mr. Pappas? No.
Sure, I'll comment on it briefly. This is a project which is near and dear to many of our hearts, which relates to the Lane Brokaw house. Not to go through the long history of the house, but we received grant funding, I think at the end of 2019, actually. And so part of the grant funding was to provide electrical service to Lane Voorhees house because nothing else can really be done there, including water pumps or mold remediation or anything else without electric being run there. So that's what this is. This is moving forward on our commitment under the money we received from the grant. It is grant funded. And I will also note, just as an aside, I didn't mention earlier, but I attended today a conference. I sit on a panel. I was asked to sit on a panel with a couple of different mayors across the state on arts and cultural grants, historical grants, things like that, so we can learn about additional funding sources that may be available for all kinds of projects that impact art, culture, placemaking, a lot of different opportunities in our town. A lot of that stuff is typically done in urban areas, but suburban towns don't often take advantage of what's there. So we're hoping that we can get some good grant funding and more programs.
How did we settle on 200 amp service?
Mr. Genova is here, I think could respond to that.
Okay. We have no grand plans for large electrical use there, is, I guess, that was my question, really.
No, you're right. We won't use up all of the breakers, I can tell you that.
Good.
So, all this money really is from the grant.
Yeah, it's from the grant. And if this is really you can't do anything without electric.
And just how do we get to 21,000 as a number?
That's what the bids came back at. It was bid.
Okay, great. Okay. Any other questions, comments, or motion?
Mr. President, I just want to make it clear that this is the fulfillment of an obligation associated with the grant. We are, correct me if I'm wrong, Mr. Mayor, Mr. Administrator, we are not making a commitment to any further action at that location.
No, we're
correct?
fulfilling our commitment, which was under the grant, which is to stabilize the house. To stabilize the building so that we can decide, or some organization can decide, or we can have further discussions about what to do with the Lane Brogo house, if anything, even if it's to just preserve it in condition and leave it is. But without the electric, you can't address water in the basement, you can't address mold, you can't do anything if they don't have the electric run to the site to be able to run equipment or to manage it.
Okay, and even with this electrical service, the property would still be, the house would still be well short of a condition to receive a certificate of occupancy. All right, just want that very clear and on the record.
Yes. Yes.
You know, it might not be, I don't know if every member of the council has had a walkthrough.
No.
No.
We should probably at some point have one, because if your expectation is you're walking into a historical house, when you get inside, nothing looks historical in there. The sheetrock that was put up, there was wiring that was done. It's not anywhere near habitable, nor, except for the outside facade, does it look like it's historical inside. But I would encourage a walkthrough so that everybody can be on an equal footing in terms of knowing what the place looks like.
I think there's a wall inside,
Yeah.
that's still original.
Yeah, it is
Besides
one
that,
of
a
the
lot-
oldest examples of
Yeah.
plantation-style architecture.
Yes.
On the
We can certainly arrange for,
outside.
The
we can certainly arrange for individual council members at their convenience to take them there.
And then potentially that triggers a conversation on what the future of that property looks like.
Yeah, we have a couple ideas, I think, but right now, really, the bottom line is that we've already invested funds into this. We've committed county funds to it through the grant funding, and this, you know, this has to be done in order to fulfill our commitment. Otherwise, there is no conversation to have at all, because it won't be stabilized or even close to it.
Any other questions, comments, or motion?
Okay, somebody has to make a motion and a
I'll
second.
make a motion, we move this.
I'll second it. Roll call, please.
Councilman Kirsch?
Yes.
Councilman Padilla?
Yes.
Councilman Nogales?
Yes.
Councilman Ring?
Yes.
President Pedrosa?
Yes. 11D, authorizing a reduction in the performance guarantee from $225,163 to $119,208 for the Foothills Estate subdivision application posted by La Rosa Brothers Construction, Inc. For Block 718, lots 160, 161, 164, now 160.01, 160.02, 160.03, and 160.04 on Whitnax Road. Mr. Pappas.
This is for a 4-lot subdivision referred to by some as Foothill Estates. The township engineer has recommended a partial reduction of the performance bond, and that's what's reflected here in this resolution.
If possible, Mr. Pappas, could we add the street address on? I think it's always helpful to the public. Block and lots don't mean a lot to people.
Sure. I don't know what,
It's a street address or a street intersection.
sure, I don't know what that is at the moment, but we can certainly add that.
Is this the, you mentioned Foothill Estate, is this the subdivision on the north side of Foothill Road, which I guess will be named Whitnax Road?
Yes.
Yes.
So that's going between North Bridge Street and the middle school, roughly somewhere in there on the north side of the road. There's a small street going up, if that's Whitnax Road. You need a motion? I'll move it.
I'll second.
Okay, great. Roll call, please.
Councilman Kirsch?
Yes.
Councilman Padilla?
Yes.
Councilman Nogales?
Yes.
Councilman Ring?
Yes.
President Pedrosa?
Yes. 11E, award of contract to Raritan Valve and automation of P.O. Box 10120 in New Brunswick, New Jersey for the purchase of valves and materials needed for the installation of the pumps at the Joe Bride Sanitary Sewer Pump Station in an amount of $63,115 funded through the 21-13 Sewer Bond Ordinance. Mr. Pappas?
As the council knows, on a number of occasions over the last few months, you've supported the adoption of resolutions purchasing pumps. This particular purchase is for some additional components, valves that are needed to fit the new pumps into the station. Right, Mr. Genova? I think I've described that. Maybe you could elaborate if I'm leaving anything out. And this is for the component pieces. And we are finding that the lead time that is needed to have equipment such as this in our hands, really, and we appreciate the Council President putting this on the agenda late on Friday because it gives us 2 weeks shorter time period that we would then have these component pieces in our hands. Mr. Genova, do you have anything you could add that might be helpful? And what's important for, as I understand this, we have bypass pumps set up presently, and once we have these valves and they're installed, and then we will be able to install the purchased pumps yet to be delivered, then we can remove the bypass system.
And these parts are for all 3 pumps?
Mr. President, I have been an advocate for months of updating this sewerage pumping station. It's a 1985 version, which is not all that old, but we've had some problems with the valves, and each pump has an intake valve, an outflow valve, and some other stuff. So this is a really important process so that people, especially up in the Martinsville area where this part serves, will still be able to take showers and flush their toilets.
I'll let Councilman Ring start first. Are you done?
Yeah.
You done? Okay, go ahead.
So, Mr. President, I wanted to really just trace this resolution back to outstanding work and diligence, particularly by Councilman Norgalis, because he's the one who has taken it upon himself to really be Mr. Sewer, and I mean that in a nice way.
Mark Carney.
Really, pun not so much intended, diving in and understanding what's going on beneath the land of Bridgewater, which is critically important. And it is important to note that the action that this council took, which was first advocated by Councilman Norgalis, occurred before the storm. So a lot, those pumps were ordered, if I recall, it was in the August meeting, so a handful of weeks before the storm. By having that foresight, we are ahead of the line, so to speak, of likely many other municipalities that suffered damage. So we are now at a point just a couple of weeks away from having this situation fixed. We did not sit down shortly after the storm and for the first time say, oh my goodness, what are we going to do about this? So I think it's important, jokes aside, to really compliment Councilman Norgalis for his understanding of the sewer system, his understanding of the critical nature of it, his relentless pursuit of a solution, and the fact that we are now well on our way to this important upgrade of our infrastructure.
Well said. Councilman Norgalis, would you like to move it? Yes, you may. All right.
Second.
Okay. Roll call, please.
Councilman Kirsch?
Yes.
Councilman Cortella?
Yes.
Councilman Canada? Yes. Councilman Ring?
Yes.
President Russo?
Yes. Item number 12 would be a closed session. Mr. Corsini, is there a need for closed session?
Not unless the administration has a need.
Okay, very well. Move on to item 13, adjournment. Is there a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
I hear a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Hearing none, meeting is adjourned. Thank you all for joining us this evening.
Strategy for Alan tomorrow. Do you need everything, or can they start on a new course?
As soon as he can, I mean, I'll check back with him tomorrow night, whatever he has.
Both times, right?